All right, CJ, great name. That was off the cuff, by the way. I had no idea you were going to say that. Boyer's buzzer. Quick explanation of the rules. Go right ahead.
Listen, week one of the NBA season is behind us. There's so many topics to get to, so many things to talk about. We are going to set a timer. I'm going to pull topics out of the Boyer's hat behind me, which I will go get in a second. We will have 2 minutes per topic, 10 topics total. However, you and I will be allotted 2 timeouts. So we can say timeout, 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 and we can extend our discussion based off this topic. So if we're really getting into it and you feel this is worth talking about more, call timeout. If you like the topic so much, you can call timeout out of the jump. It's teams, a couple people, perhaps a piece of art. So I'm going to go get the Boyer's hat, and we can get right into it. Hold on 1 second. You can riff here as I get it.
Yeah, I got to fill some time here. So how was everyone's weekend? Everyone excited about election season coming up? Things are getting heated. Things sure are getting heated. Oh, CJ's back. I was talking election.
Speaking of the big Boyer's hat, shout out to the commies. What a win the other day. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Brian Robinson, the OG big hat guy.
Really, really awesome stuff. Let me shake these topics up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Is the timer, are you ready to set the timer and I'll read the first one off?
Listen, I'm ready. Just tell me when.
All right, topic number 1 is the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, wow. The Milwaukee Bucks, man. I'll let you take the lead on this one, but let me just get something out front. It's bad. It's real bad. It's real. The fundamental problem to me is it seems like Damian Lillard and Giannis don't really like each other, and their chemistry on the court doesn't seem to be working, but go right ahead. I know you're the foremost Bucks hater.
By the way, say a Secretary of State when the timer runs out, Henry. You've done presidents, you've done vice presidents, do Secretary of State. I'll say this. Bucks are playing the Celtics well tonight, but they're coming off losses against the Nets and the Bulls. This team doesn't have the juice. Listening to NBA TV, they talked about how the team got younger, but not much younger. Like the players they added, the pieces they added, not super great. You got Doc, you got Darvin Ham, you got Taurean Prince. I don't like it.
He's leading them in minutes. Taurean Prince is leading them in minutes.
That was like a LeBron to D-Wade or D-Wade to LeBron. Interesting. But no, it's a mess over there. And they might beat the Celtics tonight. They've played well. They've played physical. But a night when the Celtics are shooting the ball well, or the Knicks or some of these other teams of Cleveland, Milwaukee's not built to win that way. They're built to grind you down in the paint. Again, I have the game on here. It's flashing on my face. But I just think this team, they missed their shot. I think their window is shut. But I don't think they're alone. I think there's another team we're probably going to talk about in a little bit that is looking like maybe they have mismanaged their roster as well. But for Milwaukee, as long as they have Giannis, they'll be good in the East. But I don't see this team making a finals run with the roster they currently have. And Chris Middleton, that doesn't do a lot for me. They showed like how they are with versus without him. I think they're 9 games above 500 without him and maybe 13 with him. So it's a mess either way.
I don't think it really matters. The problem is the same problem that they had last year, is that they're just getting absolutely slaughtered by guards like Zach LaVine, Cam Thomas, Dennis Schroeder, Josh Giddey. Like every guard can just go off for 25 plus against them. It doesn't matter. Buzzer, Henry Clay, next topic.
Okay. Again, for context, folks, we've done similar segments like this in the past. Usually when the timer is up, because I can't see the timer, Henry will yell a president or a vice president because he loves history. He will do a Secretary of State for this version. Second topic. I'm glad we're getting this one out of the way early. The D-Wade statue. Timeout!
Oh, boy.
Timeout! Timeout! I'm calling timeout early.
Stopping the clock with 1:58 on it. Go right ahead.
Timeout. So... it's bad. It's really bad. It looks like Paul Pierce mentioned this. It looks like Tony Allen. It doesn't look like Dwayne Wade. It
also looks like Lawrence Fishburne.
It also looks like Lawrence
Fishburne.
The problem, and I was shocked by this, is that the beard comes through in the complete wrong way. Like,
yes,
it looks like gray.
Yeah, it looks like the Giga Chad jaw, kind of. It looks like an extension of his jaw, and it looks like a very off-putting face.
and now D-Wade has been very nice about it, because, I mean, he's getting killed for this, and rightfully so. He's been very nice saying, it was the artist's interpretation, but D Wade, we gave you a lot of love during the Olympics. We'd like you to be calling games full time. We don't have to do this, man. You can just say it sucks because it sucks. And I actually think it's worse. I called timeout for this. Sculptures and statues of late were not hitting the mark as a sports society with them, really as a society in general. I think about the Sean Taylor disaster. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
Just like not even a
I
person.
forgot about that.
Like an empty mannequin disaster. I TikToked about this. Remember the Allen Iverson little weird statue? And now
2 feet tall.
Granted, apparently the Sixers fans like every statue's like that. Okay, but why? Why are we doing that? We got D Wade. It's not good. Now I'm from Boston, so there's some great statues. The Bobby Orr statue, for example, that's like an awesome, cool. He's flying in the air, like that's pretty sick, right?
The MJ statue doing the Jumpman logo.
And I think I read somewhere, and because we're still in timeout, you can fact check it. I'm pretty sure this guy did the MJ statue. So what the fuck happened if you went from doing that to giving us the D Wade? Yeah, let's get the fact check because and that's the thing too. Back in the day, I feel like artists, painters, sculptors were held in high esteem. Do we not have enough people in the trade anymore? Are we short sculptors? Are we short these artists?
We're losing sculptors. Like
we're losing sculptors. Exactly. Like we are in trouble. Did you find what the sculptor has done previously?
I'm trying to pull it up. He said.
While you keep looking, I did see a tweet. Yeah. I'm not sure if this was like actual news that Pat Riley says they got to build a statue next for Udonis Haslem, and someone was like, they can build a bench. Like, so
you know how they named the court in the stadium 2 different things. Like for Duke, it's Cameron Indoor Stadium, but it's Coach K Court now. They could do like Cassia Center, but the Udonis Haslem Memorial Bench because that's what it should be. Because he was a glorified assistant coach for the last 8 years.
Looking into this sculptor thing real quick, the Sun Sentinel
so his name
said,
is Rotblat Amrani, and it says he has done multiple significant sports statues in his career. Yeah, he did the Shaquille O'Neal, the Magic Johnson one outside of Staples Center. He did the Kobe Bryant statue, sitting courtside with Gigi. Wait, I think did he do the Jordan one? He might have. Yeah, he did.
So what happened here? Because of course the Miami media machine's going crazy, and they're saying on South Florida Sun Sentinel.com that there are meaningful details everywhere with this statue. Just shameful. I'm going to call time back.
Except in the face where the meaningful details that were missed were, accurate depictions.
Youth, I'm calling time back in to keep the clock going. We can wrap this one up. Just poor D Wade, man. I mean, like I would argue that in his post-playing career, this was the highest D Wade stock really ever got. And what a brutal fall from grace. And again, D Wade is a good dude. I think I admire him being like defending the artist, because I just shit on the artist all over the place here. But like I admire the defense.
He kind of has to though.
Yeah, because it's like Pat Riley will like whack his friend or something. You know what I mean? Like it's it's the Miami Mafia there, big bad Heat. So this is what the Heat are now. By the way, this is who they are. We will talk about the D Wade statue because their play is not worth getting into, because they are not a good basketball team, and they used to be proud, and they're not. And Jimmy Butler stinks. The D Wade statue stinks. Spoelstra's, he doesn't stink, but yeah. And last thing from me, I can't imagine what the Tyler Hero statue is going to look like, because for sure he's going to get one, because
if Tyler Hero gets a statue, that is an insult to like every top 50 NBA player of all time. If
that
Udonis
has a
Haslam
statue.
gets a statue, that's an insult.
No, that is an insult. Like if he, I mean, it's like Yankees Monument Park. Like they got the fucking ball boys in there. You know, it's embarrassing. Like some of these organizations, man. Like, oh, by the way, what's the World Series score? The Yankees getting killed.
Last I saw, it was 2-0.
Yikes.
Dodgers, Freddie Freeman home run.
Freddie
Dude's
Freeman.
on one ankle, going to win the World Series MVP. It's 3-0 right now.
Absolutely epic. Absolutely epic. Clock's still running. We're out of time here.
Yeah, we got 10 seconds left.
Wow.
I mean,
I should have called time
quick?
in a little bit earlier. No, we'll run out. We'll dribble this one out in closing. D-Wade statue.
William Jennings.
Okay.
We're ending it on that.
All right. Next up, Celtics.
Celtics. I'll take the lead on this one.
Go for it.
They like a wagon. They look as good as they did last year, if not better. Jason Tatum looks like he's either the favorite or the second favorite for MVP. This might be a bit of a controversial thing to say, but I think of this Celtics team almost kind of like the 2016 Warriors, because they won the title in relative dominant fashion the year before, but nobody really respected them in the way that they probably deserved. I did. You did. The general basketball media, I don't think, respected them.
Yeah.
I think this Celtics team can win 70 games. I think they can win 70 games. If they want to, I think this team can win 70 games. If Tatum's hitch and his shot is fixed and he can shoot the ball like we've seen from him, or maybe even better, and he can average 30 plus points per game efficiently, this team can win 70 games. They can win 70 games because the bench is good enough with Tillman, and now you got Peyton Pritchard, who's like actually really a good player now and not just a gimmick.
He's Dark Horse 6th Man of the Year. I'm telling you, he's playing out of his mind. Out of the gate.
Sam Howell, like the bench is good. Your superstar is playing like an MVP, and your cast of like secondary stars between White and Brown and Holiday are awesome. And you're going to get Porzingis back eventually. Joe Mazzulla doesn't strike me as the kind of coach to take his foot off the gas. The Celtics could win 70 games. They really could.
Yeah, I think the thing for the Celtics, and again, they've looked great so far. They haven't looked particularly great against Milwaukee, but again, Milwaukee's a grind you down team. What I'm intrigued to see with the Celtics is how they respond when the three isn't falling. And against Milwaukee tonight, at the half, outside of Peyton Pritchard, the rest of the team was 3 of 18 from three. So how are you going to win games when the three isn't falling? And they showed in the playoffs that they can clamp you down. Defense hasn't been great out of the gate for them. I think that'll tighten up. And yeah, Porzingis coming back.
Albright.
Porzingis coming back.
Sorry.
No, I respect the buzzer. The Philadelphia, I should probably hold these up. 76ers. I'm not going to hold it up.
Okay.
Lot to get to with this team, but I'll let you start us off.
Yeah, let's call a timeout on this.
All
let's
right,
call a timeout on the 76ers because there's quite a bit to get to. So Tyrese Maxey is off to an interesting start, to say the least. He's scoring the ball. He's top 5 in scoring in the league right now. The efficiency, unfortunately, not really there for Mr. Maxey.
No.
But he's been put in a pretty terrible situation, as we know. No Paul George so far, no Joel Embiid so far, and we'll get to discussing Joel Embiid in a second. Here's a fun little fact about what Tyrese Maxey is doing right now. The only players in NBA history to ever shoot more times per game than Tyrese Maxey has so far in these 3 games, Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain. That's it.
Yikes.
Nobody else has ever shot more times per game than what we're seeing from Tyrese Maxey right now. 29, just shy of 29 shot attempts per game, 31 points. As I said, the efficiency just really isn't there. 35% from the field, 26% from 3, 24% from 3 rather. They don't have any other offensive options other than Embiid and George, who are hurt. So without them, it's just like we're just going to spam Maxey, just spam. You know that scene from Toy Story where Ham just hits the remote and they go past the channel with the toy barn? That's just them spamming the Tyrese Maxey offense button, because Andre Drummond, Caleb Martin, Ricky Council, Kelly Oubre, Kyle Lowry.
I can't believe Ricky Council got named earlier than a lot of those other guys.
These are all just guys you want taking maximum like 8 shots a game. Maximum. and
And the
they're playing secondary and tertiary roles.
And the problem is, like, I don't think Maxey being a ball dominant player is bad. We talked about this in the offseason. Like, I think the issue I have with Tyrese Maxey, and I've said that, is that the team isn't built for Tyrese Maxey. So they'll run this offense through him. And then when Embiid and George come back, they'll relegate him to the third option. They'll take the ball out of his hands. When the ball's out of his hands, he's just a worse player, in my opinion. Like, it's not, this team is not built for him. Now, if they freed him up somehow, but they wouldn't be able to do that with Embiid playing. And I guess let's get into that now. Not a good start for Joel Embiid. The league is investigating the injury reporting out of Philly. And on top of that, I'm not sure if you saw this news, he's yet to play this year, but he already has a technical foul for waving a towel in Andrew Nembhard's face. So you're not helping your team, dude. You're not playing, you're getting teed up. Like, it's just bad vibes. Like, bad vibes all around again. And I don't know what Philly's got to do to fix it. Like, Embiid's whole thing was that he wants to be healthy for the playoffs. That's, I think, like the chatter that came out first. Then it was, I'm not playing back-to-backs anymore. And now he's not playing to start the season when his other running mate is actually injured. So I just am having a really tough time defending, because I'm the Embiid guy on this podcast. I've defended him. And if you're Philly, like Philly fans, like, chime in on the comments or something. Like, you can't be feeling good about this, right? Because he hasn't even stepped on the court and the vibes are already atrocious. So the way I see it, Philly has retooled their roster, but the problems that plague Philly year after year after year, they don't go away. And I'm just going to say, I've been thinking a lot about this through football terms. Philly has a stench about them similar to the Jets and similar to the Chicago Bears. No matter how much you change it, it stays the same. So what's the league going to do? Is the league going to punish the Sixers? No fucking shot. No shot. They're doing this thing to, like, investigate. Nothing will change. Embiid will sit out against good teams. He'll play against Detroit, even though he already sat out against Detroit. And that will be that. But I'm just frustrated
that game too.
For fans, dude. It's just like, it's really not good. It's really not good. So
no.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me turn the timer back on. Actually,
yeah, hit the time in.
Yeah, the vibes are horrific right now. Like, a guy who was supposed to be huge on vibes for them, like, was rookie Jared McCain, Mr. TikTok. He's dancing. He's, like, barely playing. He's in, like, 3 minutes a game.
No,
like, he's not playing any significant role, which is kind of crazy to me as I, went through the list of guys who are getting significant minutes, the Eric Gordons and the Gershon Yabuselis of the world. Like, I don't know. Jared McCain, maybe throw him out there. Maybe give him a little bit more run. Just see what he can do. He actually did suffer, like, a somewhat scary injury in preseason. He landed awkwardly, and apparently, like, it was a muscle strain in his heart, which I had never heard before, or something.
God. Very weird.
But he was not enough to play, and he's only playing single-digit minutes per game. He's not playing any significant role. I don't know. This is not the structure. This is not the start to a season that a team who competes for a championship has. It just isn't. It just isn't. I know they have delusions of competing for a championship, but in what world does a team that starts the season with their best player having some weird comments about, I'm not going to play back-to-backs. I need to get ready for the playoffs because I fall apart in the playoffs every year, is ramping up and from what? Like, just not playing, and your second best player has a knee hyperextension in the preseason and he misses the first couple weeks of the year. Like, this is not the start to a successful season.
It's deeply unserious.
I don't understand how this is a team that people actually think can compete for a title. I don't understand how it's possible.
I certainly don't. And the ones that do, maybe you haven't watched Philly the last 10 years.
Henry Kissinger.
Zach Edey.
All right, let me start off with this one. Zach Edey's got a foul problem.
Yep, fouled out in 14 minutes 44 seconds.
It's insane. And then he had 4 fouls the next game, and then he had 4 fouls the game after that. They're currently playing right now. I'm not exactly sure what his foul situation looks like in Memphis, but I can't imagine it's very good. I cannot imagine that it's good. Listen, it's going to take time to adjust. I fully understand that. The fouling. You can't foul. You just can't foul. I mean, it's funny from the guy who like got fouled the most in college. Now just can't stop fouling.
Well, you say Zach Edey has a foul problem. I think Big Ten officials have a officiating problem because this is a guy who's fouled out in a game and nearly fouled out in all the games he's played in the NBA. He fouled out once in college in 138 games, and it's less fouls to foul out. So I think the Big Ten has an officiating problem, actually, because this is not good. And I think
is the Big Ten in the pocket of Big Boilermaker?
Perhaps. I think a lot of people are high on Edey. They think he's going to win Rookie of the Year, and not the start he envisioned. But Memphis off to a fine start overall. So, yeah, just not great for him. He has a foul problem, and he's going to adjust. I believe in that, but it's just very weird. His game hasn't changed a lot since college, and
Hillary Clinton
blowing the whistle a lot. Next up, the Indiana Pacers.
What is going on with Tyrese Halliburton?
Well,
what is going on?
It depends where on the internet you are, but I'm not getting into that. I'm not calling timeout for that.
3.7 assists per game.
Dude.
3 points. This guy was on pace to like have more assists than anyone not named John Stockton in NBA history last year. 3.7 assists per game. Shocking.
I fear what happened is that the Pacers added pieces and guys came into their own, and now Halliburton doesn't really know what his role is on the team. And to make matters worse, not only he's not, the assists are not there, but team-wise, like look at Indiana as a team, they still can't defend. Their whole issue was that they're a porous, bad defense. Oh, is porous a good word?
No, porous means bad.
Porous means bad, right? They were porous
has
defense.
A lot of holes, left a lot of stuff through it.
Yeah, porous defense last year. So far, it doesn't look like it's changed at all. So Halliburton doesn't look great. Yeah, the Pacers are a weird team. They can score, but that defense is a problem. And if he isn't facilitating the offense the way he does, I don't have faith that Andrew Nembhard can carry the team the whole way, So honestly, I think the Pacers added too many guys and enabled too many guys to play, and Halliburton's got to figure out his role again. Because he's not a shooter, he's not a scorer at the level of some of the other stars in this league. But he is a passer at that level. He's a high-end passer. So 3.8 assists. He had a game where he had 0 points. That was against the Knicks, right? No points?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Complete and total goose egg, which is embarrassing.
Cannot have that. Cannot have that when you're a star in this league and you were on the Olympic team. That can't happen. Yeah, I don't know. We're both high on Indiana. This is not the start I wanted for the Pacers. Not the start I wanted at all.
Rusk.
The Denver Nuggets.
When does Russell Westbrook hang it up, man? When does he just decide to call it quits? Because they're like in the starter minutes.
Timeout. Yeah, let's get into it. Timeout. Keep going.
In the starter minutes, like Porter, Christian Brown has impressed me. I talked about it with you this offseason. I did not think Christian Brown was going to be able to fill in for KCP. KCP's been terrible. Christian Brown's been good. Nikola Jokic had a game where he hit 7 threes and they lost. Like, the bench is so bad. It's probably the worst bench in the NBA. I think it might comfortably be the worst bench in the NBA. When you're talking about a mismatch of Julian Strawther, who seemingly doesn't, I don't know. When I watch him, he just doesn't feel like a guy who has any impact at all to me. Russell Westbrook, who's, God, as I said at the top, when does this guy hang it up? When does this guy hang it up? By the way,
Sad.
right now they're down 8 to the Toronto Raptors with 2.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
A play-in
They
team in
might
our
lose to
book.
the Raptors. They might lose
It's
to the Raptors to go 0-3.
may I overreact for a minute?
Yeah. Go off, King.
All the haters in the comments on that video we put out in the summer of me being like the Nuggets won because of their bench. Like, obviously, I didn't mean they won because of their bench, but having a good bench leads to winning championships. All these fucking people, they only need Jokic and Murray. Well, now you only got Jokic and Murray, and so far you look like you suck, okay? You look horrible. Russell Westbrook, I don't know how they thought that, let's bring in Russ. He will get the bench energized. No, he will not. It's sad because Russ should be remembered in the history of the NBA fondly, but what's happened to him at the hands of LeBron James, it's LeBron's fault. What's happened is deeply sad. And for the Nuggets to think, we'll put this guy on a 2-year deal and he'll be our spark plug off the bench, it's to your take that they're high on their own supply over there. And they've let good pieces go. And yeah, Christian Brown's looked good so far, but they have nothing there. And
no.
Jokic,
I'm reading off the bench right now in this game. Do any of these guys crack the rotation of, obviously, like not even like a Boston, but a Lakers? Dario Saric, Peyton Watson, Russell Westbrook, Julian Strawther. Maybe Peyton Watson gets 10 minutes.
Holy shit.
Those are the 4 bench guys that have played in this game against Toronto, which they're going to lose. They're going to go 0-3, losing to the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors, who, by the way, are not in a great position themselves. I mean, I don't think Quickly even played in this game, did he?
Dario Saric hasn't been relevant since the Obama administration. Like, I don't know what we're doing here and what we're thinking about.
He was drafted in 2016, dude.
That was when he was relevant, dog. He hasn't been relevant since he was fucking drafted, is what I'm arguing. So, I don't understand how the Nuggets, because again, Jokic is still not 30 yet, but he's getting older. The league, again, Jokic is, in my opinion, the best player in the world, but the league will adjust and they'll learn. And Jokic getting guys involved and the guys around him getting worse is naturally going to negatively impact the team. So I'm going to call time in here, just let the clock go. But like,
all right, let me start it up again.
It's frustrating because the way Denver looked 2 years ago and what they had, again, like that is dynasty building right there. And I'm watching the Celtics are up 15 with 2 minutes left against Milwaukee, and they haven't even played their best. I look at a team like Milwaukee, who was in a similar place, in Denver, as 2 teams that won championships in pretty convincing fashion, and they got kind of fast and loose with their rosters. And we're like, I have the best player in the world. I can do whatever I want around that player. And that's just not true. Not in today's NBA. You just cannot do that. And so Jamal Murray is getting worse. Michael Porter Jr. is getting more online. Aaron Gordon is good. Like, Gordon is good. Like, I will give him that. But again, he's not enough to win you basketball games. So it's not good for Denver. And especially, everybody in the West got better. So you can't afford to get worse when everyone around you got better. Literally every team in the West got better, you could argue, besides them and like the Clippers. So it's not good for Denver.
I think you were spot on when you called them the new Bucks. And I'm like, they're not the new Bucks. Like, well, this is getting a little bit ahead of yourself. They might be the new Bucks. They very well might be the new Bucks. It's awfully similar. It's awfully similar. They handed out the Jamal Murray $50+ million a year max extension. He's had some moments so far. He's 4-15 in this game right now. Don't know if it was injuries or what, but are we, like, it's crazy to say because a guy who's just like 28 years old. Are we ever going to see bubble Jamal Murray, 2023 playoff run Jamal Murray ever again?
I don't want to discredit Jamal Murray coming back from injury either. Like, but we're not. And I feel bad saying that because he was such an electric player. I just don't think we are. Well, maybe against the Lakers, we'll see it. The Oklahoma City Thunder. I'll start with this one if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I still think they're corny, dude. I hate the local TV thing they do, and I support local broadcasts. Obviously, Drew is my friend. local broadcasts are important to sports coverage. We should be lifting up local sports coverage in this country and not allowing, especially during playoffs, like allowing these national broadcasts to take away from fan enjoyment. That being said, we can tone it down a bit in Oklahoma City, okay? We can tone it down a little bit. Besides that, though, Thunder look great. And I'm a Thunder hater on the record, but they look good. They have a lot of pieces. Shea looks good. Chet looks fun. Like I just think this team, when they get Hartenstein going, is going to be very good.
Yeah, Chet has taken the criticisms this offseason to heart. He got bodied in the playoffs by Derek Lively. He's averaging 13 rebounds a game right now, playing like the defensive player of the year and an all-star. Chet's been unreal. Chet's been unfreaking believable. This team is currently allowing 92 points per 100 possessions in like as a defensive rating. And like that would be one of the best ever. And I think a key thing with them is that literally every player in their rotation is at least a good defender for the most part. Like Chet, Jalen Williams, Alex Caruso, I'm kidding. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Kason Wallace. Like these are everybody that they play is a good defender. And like Hartenstein still hasn't played and he's a really good defender himself. Like this team defensively is one of the most complete defensive rosters ever put together. George Schultz.
Sorry, I was
Reagan
just
era.
I was just
Secretary
checking.
of
Henry
State.
and I are in a dog fight in fantasy right now. And
Oh, we are?
in our sleeper league, and you were up 11 and I have Boswell.
Yeah, and you have Boswell,
who's made 3 field goals thus far, 30, and then both were 20-yarders. So you're still hanging on for a sec.
So I'm up by 2. Oh boy.
All right, we have 2 more left, it looks like, and you have 1 timeout left. I've burnt my 2 timeouts.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're going to call timeout on this one. JJ Reddick.
Timeout. Let's go, baby. Coach of the year. We're getting it started. He has a reinvigorated Anthony Davis right now. 34 points per game, the most offensively aggressive I've ever seen him. He's shooting 15 free throws a game, just nonstop, taking it to the rim. I know that the numbers don't show that he's shooting more threes. I think he had like 1.1 last year to 1.8 this year. It feels like he's launching more. No stats behind that. It just feels like he's launching a little bit more.
Vibe check.
He has more. Yeah, it's a vibe thing. He just has more confidence when he has the ball in his hands. And I think having a coach that instills that within you, they've been pushing for years that, okay, it's time for LeBron to take a back step. Like, this is Anthony Davis's team now. We have been told that for a half decade. Feels like it's really starting to happen. LeBron, lowest usage rate of his entire career right now. They're running things through Anthony Davis and frankly, Austin Reeves, who's averaging 18 points per game. Austin Reeves has been quite good. I do have concerns about the defense long-term just because how good defensively can a backcourt of Reeves and D'Lo be? Very, very limited defensive ceiling with that.
Fair.
But I also got to give another quick shout out here. And I'll turn the timer back on now. Rui Hachimura is playing with a level of
playing well.
Intensity and fire and passion that I've never seen from him. Watching so much Lakers over the last few years, I've come to be like really annoyed with his laissez-faire attitude and just kind of like nonchalantness on the court. This was a guy last year who averaged 4 rebounds per game. He's averaging 7 this year. Like a 3 rebound per game increase is notable. Like that's not nothing. And last year, 2 free throws attempted per game. Now he's just under 5 free throws attempted per game. He's being a lot more forceful going to the basket and utilizing his biggest asset, which is his strength and size. Like he's like kind of built like LeBron. Rui's huge. Rui is a huge dude. And now he's taking advantage of that physicality, getting to the line, scoring well, scoring efficiently, rebounding the ball. Shout out to Rui, man. I guess about a minute left. I'll let you take the rest here. But like, it just feels like the team is playing as a team now. And the coaches, I mean, not the coaches, the players have basically very, very quietly talk shit about Darvin Ham. Like, okay, we finally have a system in place. Like, That sounds like you didn't have a system in place last year.
I'll say biggest winner with JJ Reddick's success thus far is Joe Mazzulla, because it shows to me that Laker fans and big basketball media are obsessed with Joe Mazzulla because they want JJ Reddick to be him. And they're like, there's all these fucking Twitter memes like, which coach is more psycho?
Yeah,
Which one?
those.
Like, people just want a psycho coach now, which is the Joe Mazzulla way of conducting business. Now, Reddick, I actually don't think is even remotely the psycho that Mazzulla is. And I also think Reddick is getting a little overhyped out of the gate. The biggest loser is Darvin Ham, because Reddick is just like drawing up plays. And
Warren, Christopher.
Laker fans are like, oh my God, we're doing plays now. Like, it really, to me, is Reddick's been good. The Lakers have beat 3 playoff teams, but it's a long season.
Yeah.
The last topic. I didn't tell Henry about this one. Another coach.
This one's a surprise.
Tony Bennett.
Oh, yes.
We've not talked about this.
Timeout, but I'll respect.
We've not spoken about this. I will real quickly just say, Tony Bennett, he couldn't deal with the new college ways anymore. Gone are the Kihei Clarks, and are the NILs. And Guy hung it up at 55. I turn it over to you.
Yeah. Do you think that famous Kevin Harlan? Did we see what I think we just saw? Did that Kihei Clark moment singularly end Tony Bennett's career? There's not a 0% chance of that. Yeah, I just got to give a shout out. He was a great coach. I understand there was a lot of people who strongly disliked his play style, the pack line defense, the run the shot clock down to 5 seconds left every single possession. And as a Virginia fan, I got to say, I agree with that sometimes. It was not fun to watch, especially when we didn't have talent like we did in like 2017, 2018. And then obviously again in 2021. We forget that team had Sam Hauser, who's a very valuable player for the Celtics, Trey Murphy, who just got, $28 million a year or whatever from the Pelicans, and Jay Huff, who's been really good for the Grizzlies so far, just got
signed.
Yeah, the Hoonicorn. That team had a lot of talent. That team shouldn't have gone out in round 1 to Ohio. He was a great coach. I totally understand why the NIL era was not for him. It's a completely different game. It is a 365 days a year sport now, with dealing with agents and contracts and sponsorship. It's a lot harder. And in his parting press conference, he said that. He said college basketball is in a very precarious place. Like, there needs some regulation. There needs to be something over this. It can't just be the wild, wild west. Brought me a championship. The single best, sporting event in my life was that 2019 title for UVA, coming back from losing to the 16 seed, which was absolutely freaking heartbreaking. Colin Powell, but yeah, crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere. That came out of absolutely freaking nowhere.
You're not going to take what I'm about to say well. I know you called time, but just one last remark, and then we'll get into bad NBA headlines to get out of here. You're not going to like this, and I don't mean it to sound bad. It's a lot easier to leave and blame NIL and not acknowledge that you as a coach have had some of the most heartbreaking, devastating losses in the last 20 years of college basketball. And would you do, like, I say that to say that definitely weighed on him. Like,
no, it wasn't nothing.
To lose, it's not nothing. Now, he's not going to say that, but I think what you have to admire about athletes and coaches is how they get back out there and go. I believe he's genuine when he says the state of the game he does not agree with, but that guy also took some fucking punches to the face as a coach. But he got his championship, which most people can never say they got. So I will be happy trails, Tony Bennett. Happy trails.
Happy trails, Tony. Gonna miss you, buddy.